Welcome to the Asian Pacific American Heritage Month Interventional Platform Town Hall, presented to you by the Interventional Platform Inclusion, Diversity, and Health Equity Committee. Today, we're going to discuss the significance of Asian Pacific Islander American history. The term Asian American was termed to build solidarity among all Asian ethnicities in the U.S. The term Pacific Islander defines those with origins as Indigenous Hawaiian, Melanesian Islands, Micronesian Islands, and Polynesian Islands. The term AAPI is an elastic broad term that encompasses all identified populations of Asia and Pacific Islands. Asian Pacific Heritage Month was signed into law in May of 1992. Since then, 6.8% of the U.S. population identify as AAPI. As of 2009, 45% of U.S. refugees were from Asian countries. Due to current events, there has been an increase on sharing the importance of Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Race-based violence in the current pandemic has exacerbated challenges in the AAPI community. Within this past year, there has been nearly 4,000 reported anti-Asian hate crimes nationwide. Unity to stop anti-Asian hate violence has continued with the Stop AAPI Hate movement.
Interventional Platform looks to celebrate National Asian Pacific Islander American Heritage Month through honoring the complexities and beauty of all our diverse communities, especially those living and resisting in the margins. This town hall is intended to be an informative overview with an understanding that a part of the celebration of diverse experiences of Asians, Pacific Islanders, Indigenous Hawaiians is that AAPI experiences are not a monolith and certainly nuanced. This presentation is meant to provide a foundation for dialogue and hold accountability to celebrate each other's similarities and differences. That's the beauty of diversity. Here's a brief overview of the vast geography that encompass the roots of many AAPI folks. You can see here is a geographical map of East, Arab, Middle Eastern, Muslim, South, and Southeast Asia, the many Pacific islands of Micronesia, Melanesia, Polynesia, and Hawaii. Fun fact, there are over 3,200 languages and dialects spoken in Asia and Pacific Islands and counting.
So Haley, what are some of the good things about being of mixed racial descent?
I think a big part of it is experiencing both parts of the culture. I mean, having a Jewish father and a Japanese mother are obviously super different and like culture-wise between like holidays, food, and just all about everything. So I think it's really cool to grow up, learning about both cultures.
Jack, what are some of the challenges of being of mixed racial descent?
A lot of it is not really having a specific racial identity or ethnic identity. You're kind of torn between the two cultures, right? Sometimes it seems you're too white to be Asian or too Asian to be white. But, at the same time, being part of them is such a fantastic thing because you're so indulged and so involved in both and you learn so much about them. So honestly, it's a better thing. That's the only thing really.
Well, thank you both for sharing your thoughts. And thanks for celebrating Asian Pacific American Heritage Month.
Hey, hey, hey! Yo.
Historical events dating from the 1800s, when the first wave of Asian immigrants arrived in America, carry context on how Asians and Pacific Islanders were treated. May was chosen as the month to celebrate Asian American and Pacific Islander heritage to honor the first Japanese immigrant that came to the United States in May 1843, and because May 10, 1869 marks the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad. During this month, we celebrate the rich tapestry of achievement and resilience of Asian immigrants and Asian Americans through history and reflect on the hardship and racism that's tightly woven through. As we celebrate and learn this month, I reflect on Japanese American activist Yuri Kochiyama, who said, "Unless we know ourselves and our history and other people and their history, there is really no way that we can really have positive kind of interaction where there is real understanding." Laws impacting Asian and Pacific Islanders. There were previous laws enacted which had significant impacts to the Asian American and Pacific Islander communities. Below is a few of many laws placed into legislation. In some cases, laws were later revised or repealed. There are many interesting facts about Asian American Pacific Islanders across our country, but today we will focus on California. Our Asian American Pacific Islander cultural enclave was formed across America to provide a community space. For example, did you know our very own San Jose has the largest Vietnamese American population, over 100,000 people in the U.S. outside of Vietnam? San Francisco's Chinatown has the first and oldest Chinatown in North America. Over a quarter of our healthcare workers in California identify themselves as Asian American Pacific Islanders. Here in California, we have the highest census for Pacific Islander Americans, which is second to Hawaii. We also have the highest concentration of Filipino Americans. 45% live in California. In addition, we have the highest number of Asian Indian population. Our San Francisco Bay Area has the largest Tongan population amongst the largest nations. Approximately a third of our Samoan population in the U.S. live in California. Other interesting facts include Asian Indians established the Revolutionary Gandhar Party in California. College students from the Third World Liberation Asian Front created a coalition both at San Francisco State as well as UC Berkeley to now establish an ethnic studies program as well as admit more students of color. Larry Idalong, a labor union leader, and Dolores Herta formed the United Farm Workers Organization in California. Another interesting fact, where the Chinese arrived in California where gold was discovered. Our Angel Island in the Bay Area was an immigration center from 1910 to 1940, serving as the entry point for Asian immigration. And our Japanese nurserymen established the California Flower Growth Association. These are interesting facts about Asian Pacific Heritage Month.
'Cause I'm in the stars tonight, so watch me bring the fire, set the night light. Shoes on, get up in the morning, cup of milk, let's rock and roll. Kink out, kick the drum, rolling on like a rolling stone. Sing song when I'm
Hi, my name is Eda General, and I'm one of the APCMs at Capper in IRP Post. And I am Filipino. And one thing I'm proud of about my heritage is how we are instantaneously and naturally just compassionate and loving. And one interesting way we do this is like whenever we meet someone or whenever we see someone we know, we always say, "Kumain ka na?" Which means, "Have you eaten?" Which is the one way we take care of the people we love. We make sure they're fed.
Hi there, I'm a nurse in OSC PACU here in Redwood City. My favorite Asian holiday that we celebrate is Chinese Lunar New Year. It usually comes after the regular New Year, and it's usually in January or February, and it lasts for a couple weeks, and it's just my favorite time of year because it kind of embodies what our culture is to me. Family, tradition, really yummy food, and just renewal, like starting the new year over, a lot of traditions to get rid of the old year and to bring in the new. And especially it's nice because it's a couple weeks long and you get to celebrate with your friends and family, and even if you haven't seen them in a long time, everyone gets together, and then it's a tradition of ours is bringing like our friends who aren't Asian in to celebrate with us too. So it's just like one big happy family.
What makes you proud of your heritage? What makes me proud of my heritage is I didn't grow up in the Philippines, but from everything my parents have told me and my grandparents have told me and just seeing everything in the news, Filipinos are very resilient and strong, and they're very proud of their culture and being Filipino. And I think even though I didn't grow up in the Philippines, that has transcended to me from my parents and my grandparents and my whole family. And just being proud of being a Filipino, the nation in itself. It's not the richest nation, but they overcome a lot, and that makes me proud to be a Filipino.
My name is Alan Lal. I am an anesthesia technical supervisor for the interventional platform. What makes me proud of my heritage is that my forefathers were from India, and my parents and grandparents were in Fiji. And we can mix the Indian culture with the Fijian culture, and we have our own culture in Fiji that we also brought to America. So I'm a first generation Fijian Indian in America.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Monica. I am a interventional platform scheduler here at Stanford Cath Lab. I was asked a question, what makes you proud about your heritage? And my heritage is important to me because it gives me identity. Also, as a Polynesian, my background is built on moral values. That means I make decisions based on right and wrong. And also, what I'm proud about is our culture dances, our food, and our identity.
Hi everyone, my name is Simrita. I'm the quality consultant with Interventional Platform. I will tell you a little bit about my heritage and what holiday I really enjoy celebrating. I am Indian I'm from Punjab, which is a huge state in India, and we have many festivals throughout the year, but one of my favorites is Diwali. It's a huge celebration of life, of love and people around you. We celebrate, we dress to the T with a lot of jewelry and beautiful clothes, and we have a spread of multiple dishes that we take weeks and weeks to cook. And we do a whole spring cleaning, clean our houses entirely. It looks like speck. There's not even a dust anywhere. So, you have your family and friends come over and just have a blast, and I really enjoy that holiday. It's full of fireworks, food, family, laughter, and it's always been part of my life. Yep.
Hi, my name is Suman, and I would like to talk about I'm from Fiji, and I enjoy spending time with my family. We love the food, the clothing, and the closeness with the family. And in Fiji, we used to live really close to each other, so we always helped each other out. And thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Paulo Montenegro. I am the APCM here at Lane Surgery Center pre-op and PACU. I'm Filipino-American by heritage, and I'm from Los Angeles originally. One of my favorite holidays is Christmas, and I love celebrating with my family because our family here is pretty small, so it's really nice to see everybody at least once a year during the holidays. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Cashberg-Casio, and I'm one of the assistant managers at Sterile Processing Department for 300 P and Lane. I picked this question. What makes me proud of my heritage is the way I look and my food and what I offer to my colleagues.
Hi, my name is Amy and I work in the Cap Angel Lab. And my favorite holiday is Diwali. It's a festival of lights. We celebrate this Diwali with lots of, lamps around the house, and we make lots of sweets and party and eating. I love it.
My name's Christine. I work in the cath lab, and I'm a nurse here. And what is something that I would like others to know about my culture and heritage is that we are very family-oriented and respect our elders. My parents are from the Philippines, and I'm the first generation born here. So what I learned was how my grandparents and how they grew up. My grandpa was a dentist, and he worked very hard in their local town. And my other grandparents, they actually had a coconut farm. So they worked really hard to help their kids, so their kids, which are my mom and my dad, could bring us here.
My name is Jeff Encinas, and I'm one of the nurses here in Stanford Interventional Endoscopy. I'm very proud to be a Filipino. I teach my children too regarding our heritage, our culture, and how the Filipinos, since they grew up here, what we are and how we do things. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Selma.
And I'm Joanne.
And we are from endoscopy, but we're originally from the Philippines. What we like about our favorite holiday is Christmas, because we start celebrating once the Burr months hit. So September, we start putting Christmas lights and Christmas trees.
Yes, and we have special, the capiz shells and all that stuff that we local from the Philippines. So it's really quite fascinating. So if you ever have to go to the Philippines, December month is the best. It's the most expensive time of the year, but it's the best because everyone just celebrates it.
And don't forget the Simbangabi, which starts on December 16 up to December 25. So see you in the Philippines during Christmas season.
In the stars tonight, so watch me bring the fire, set the night light, hey, shining through the city with a little funky soul. So I'ma light it up like dynamite.
AAPI groundbreakers lead a multitude of fields such as writing, acting, art, music, fashion, politics, sports, and STEM. Individuals and groups such as activist Yuri Kochiyama, actor Sandra Oh, tennis player and highest paid female athlete Naomi Osaka, Vice President Kamala Harris, author and artist Chanel Miller, Grammy-nominated and winners Bruno Mars and BTS, and first South Asian female as a NASA flight director, Pooja Jasrani, and many more not mentioned are impactful leaders, influencers, and disruptors in and beyond their field. AAPI excellence includes not only global leaders, but also include your neighborhood and local icons as well. This Asian Pacific Islander American Heritage Month, we celebrate them and the work done in representing the diversity of the AAPI community. I am my ancestors' ambassador. My ancestors invented compass. My ancestors enjoyed silk and tea. My ancestors said, "In the beginning our nature was kind." My ancestors knew when one horse went missing, two might show up the next day. My ancestors invented paper and printing. My ancestors calculated with abacus and calipers. My ancestors said, 3 people walking together and one would be our mentor. My ancestors knew beyond hills stood grand mountains. My ancestors invented gunpowder and firecrackers. My ancestors celebrated Lunar New Year and Moon Festival. My ancestors said, "Friends from far away would be our delight." My ancestors knew 1,000-mile journey must start with the first step. My ancestors invented herbal medicine and acupuncture. My ancestors perfected Kung Fu and Tai Chi. My ancestors said, "Close neighbors beat remote families." My ancestors knew peace could strengthen and war would weaken. I came from my ancestors' land. I arrived at Old Golden Mountain. I asked my ancestors, "How shall I be?" My ancestors said, "Be seen, be heard, and belong." I am my ancestors' ambassador.
Here, as a grandson, this statement's a fact. No elderly should ever be victim of such a heinous attack. Prey on the weak, only cowards would take advantage of that. No more staying meek, it's time to take a stand and react. A simple trip to the market, thought the streets were safe. Turn targets, I speak up for my people's sake. From this pandemic, I'm hopeful that we'll see escape. Until then, love's the only vaccine for hate.
Hello, I'm Megan Mahoney, Chief of Staff and Executive Sponsor of the API ERG at Stanford Healthcare. During Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, I am excited to celebrate with you all, my colleagues of South Asian, Southeast Asian, and East Asian heritage, and those with ancestry from Hawaii and other islands in the Pacific, and reflect on API roots and the future. Learning about the rich history and diverse cultures of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders has augmented my experience as a physician, colleague, and leader. In 2021, as individuals and as a Stanford Medicine organization, we ask ourselves how to embrace this incredible diversity and inspire social justice in everything that we do to reflect the true fabric of our society. I'm proud to be part of the Stanford Medicine community, a community where we can be a light and a force for healing, empathy, and progress together.
Anti-Asian Pacific Islander violence has had a surge in the U.S. since COVID-19. In the Bay Area alone, there have been over 700 reported hate crimes targeting Asian Pacific Americans since the pandemic started. Nationwide, this number is close to 3,000. However, these hate crimes didn't start with COVID-19. The coined yellow peril fear has been resurrected during times of war, pandemic, and economic downturn. This has brought forward fears and stereotypes that may have been dormant in the past. There are many organizations bringing local and nationwide efforts that advance racial equity and intersectional justice. Stop AAPI Hate is just one example. As a member of the community, you can advocate for expanded civil rights protections for Asian Pacific Americans. You can support local Asian and Pacific American-owned businesses. You can learn about Asian Pacific American artists, authors, and musicians. IPIDHE is a great way to get involved with inclusion, diversity, and health equity initiatives. Stanford Healthcare Employee Resource Groups are another fabulous resource to connect with people and make a difference. We actually have several team members in the Asian Pacific Islander and Allies ERG. Again, Stanford Healthcare is committed to maintaining a discrimination-free environment. Stanford Healthcare acts in compliance with all federal, state, and local law and regulations governing discrimination involving patients, employees, physicians, vendors, visitors, and other individuals and entities associated or involved with Stanford Healthcare Services. If you see something discriminatory, please speak up.
Thank you so much, Dom. Team, we hope this presentation provides insight on Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and that conversations continue by celebrating, amplifying, and advocating for the stories and voices of Asian American Pacific Islanders and Indigenous Hawaiian populations locally, in California, the United States, and worldwide. We want to close this presentation with this quote from Yuri Kochiyama. Remember, consciousness is power. Tomorrow's world is yours to build. Thank you so much, team, for joining us on this presentation and for engaging in this conversation. We want to open the floor to any questions or comments.
나를 보는 네 눈을 바라보면 행복한데 불안해해 불안한데 행복해해 너는 날 둘러싼 모든 게 언젠간 나를 틀어 놀까 걱정하는 거와려 나의 화려한 생활 주위에 화려한 여자 가까이서 보면 다 아무것도 아냐 가까이서 봐도 아무리 가까이서 봐도 끝없이 볼 수 있는 건 정말 너뿐이야 내 눈에 너밖에 안 보여 너 내 귀에 너밖에 안 들려 너 내 맘에 너밖에 안 살아 그래서 너 없이 못 살아 Baby girl you're the only one for me 난 너뿐이야 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 미국 일본 내가 돌아다녀본 곳들마다 예쁜 여자 너무나 많고 많지만 너를 볼 때마다 느끼는 설레임은 찾을 수가 없어 걱정할 거 없어 나를 보는 네 눈빛 날 만지는 손길 누구에게서도 느껴본 적이 없어 시간이 흘러도 아무리 흘러도 변하지 않는 감정을 준 건 너뿐이야